Texas XL Title. My wife and I, Amy, own the company. We surely appreciate you guys coming here and utilizing this place every week, and just love you guys here. I have got to run some errands today for our Making Spirits Bright customer appreciation party we're having tomorrow. I think everybody has that invite via electronic mode from last week. I left some paper ones here as well, so please come by and join us. It's a fun event. I have Callie here that's gonna stay around and kind of learn some stuff. She's new to the business, she's new to us. She's super sweet and very proficient at everything she does. So while I'm gone, she's gonna be here learning some stuff about what you guys really do on the day-to-day. So in the meantime, hopefully I'm gonna try to get you guys connected, and if not, then the Dynamite Rockstar here can talk.
Yeah, I can play topics.
I want to make it clear with everybody too. I don't know how many are not with EXP, but we started this for collaboration, and I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. I mean, you're welcome to come whether you're with EXP or not. We do the first half of the meeting on just collaborating and talking about the business. We have a speaker that kind of ignites our conversation, our passion, and then everybody else is welcome to join in too. Afterwards, after our lunch, you're welcome to stay and watch the video that we, presenting EXP. But everybody's welcome, okay?
Awesome, thank you, Gina. Yeah, Gina asked me to kind of facilitate this time. So I've got Thursday or Tuesday meetings. I do a lot of training of my own team, and I have different topics and stuff. I said I've got plenty of stuff I can pull from. If you want some topics we can talk about. And normally I'll do cyclical things. This is the time of the year, it's typically the slowest, right? I mean, it's the winter. We know in Texas, our life cycles go, summer's the busiest because of school. School's a big deal here in Texas, so school and everything centers around that. So what do we do in preparing for the slower time of the year? And I've got a number of things that I can kind of share, but I wanted to kind of collaborate with you guys. Most of y'all in here have been doing this for 2-3+ years, right? Except for the new guy over here. So you've got a few years in. Every year you go through the same cycle. It's the same thing every year. We typically, buyers are less responsive. Inventory is typically down. All the normal things we see in the winter of every year. So I wanted to kind of start off with, if y'all have some things that you do consistently, either to try to regenerate opportunities, or maybe you work on yourself. Maybe we do CE and things like that. What do you guys have? What's some thoughts that you have every year? This happens, I'm telling you. I go through this. I watch my inventory drop. I watch my sales drop. What's some things that you guys do?
Marketing. Try to get ahead of maybe the spring, the spring break group that start looking, because their kids are out of school, they can look a little bit. So I try to focus on marketing. I don't really focus on single family homes. I'm more of a raw land kind of person, but
we're all in the same business, so marketing, what does marketing mean? Like, what would you do with it?
Well, so I go after, I work very diligently getting lists from appraisal districts on absentee owners, and so I try to do a big push in January for letters and direct calls to absentee landowners in January, February. So
where do you get your list?
I use Landgate, which is a really great service. They're a GIS service that overlay a lot of information about properties and property. They do a lot around carbon capture and solar, which is something totally different, but they are very much a data-driven company, and they provide a lot of email, phone numbers to property owners all over the state, all over the country, rather.
I've done no training on cold calling ever, but I have some guys on my team that really dive into the cold calling business just to generate their own opportunities and things like that. And they've got some systems, auto dialers. I was talking to one of my guys that I do podcasts with, and he was saying he hit like 120 people in an hour. Just went and blew right through it. And he locked up like 4 or 5 appointments out of it. Now he's doing for rent by owner. Anybody heard of that? For rent by owner. I guess they're like people that have owners that are renting properties. He reaches out and offers to get them new tenants, or a lot of times they're looking to exit. So it becomes a listing opportunity for him. I don't know much about that. I mean, I can talk the way I think about things. Sometimes I can kind of solve the problem, but generally I've never got into the cold calling. Anyone else do cold calling?
You know who's really good at cold calling, which is crazy, and she just came to us, she's a new hire for us. Elle Daniels is the most phenomenal cold caller I have ever heard in my entire life. If you guys wanted to do like a little series of what her tactics are and how I think she makes like 300 phone calls a day.
It's
It is,
consistency.
dude, I'm telling you what, and her game on that phone, I mean, I'm sitting there title business, I don't have anything, right? She's really good, so maybe you could collaborate with a couple of different people and kind of talk about, hey, how do you do cold calling? Because you put me on a cold call, I got nothing. But there are people that have something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Every time we watch any kind of, podcast, like the podcast that, Tony King did yesterday with, Cliff Freeman, did anybody watch that? So, what he's saying is, you're gonna have to reach out to your database, but he's gonna have to get back to working hard again. And, they make some kind of, reference to laying down in the street and somebody still comes to you and says, hey, I wanna buy a house. So.
Good morning.
Hi.
Packed in
Oh,
here.
he's later than I am.
There's one more coming too.
I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Anthony.
I like diving in the sphere of influence. It's going to be really critical. Like re-evaluate your sphere of influence. And I don't know if you guys really dive in and use KB Core to manage that, but man, it's got some incredibly powerful tools to stay in front of your sphere of influence. One of the tips I gave last week, I was talking about HomeBot, right? So I set up HomeBot and I started connecting with all of my old clients. And I've got a bunch in there. I had several come back to me because they like what I'm providing. That's just another touch that gets me in front of my own sphere of influence. And it's even better because it's in a way that I already have a relationship with them. So it makes it really easy for me to connect with them there. But you can send out regular ongoing messages. They don't have to be real estate related. Let's just stay in front of them. And staying in front of them will at least keep them top of mind and think about you. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, where you have friends, close people you've known most of your life, and a lot of them don't even remember, think about you for real estate when they go out and buy a house. You want to do it in a way that's not, okay, we get it, or, you just want to stay in front of them, top of mind. So always that top of mind thing. So you have to make some type of touch periodically. That's why podcasts are really valuable. That's why doing Facebook videos and just making connections with people, it helps them remember you. Anyone else do cold calling? You've done some cold calling? How do you do it? What do you use?
Just, I don't use any sort of system.
Like
I just-
expired listings, FSBOs, what do you call them?
Yeah, I'll go through those, or like right now, I'm just kind of going back through my database. Just people I haven't touched or forgot about, or maybe like in the beginning was like nervous about it for some reason.
Sure.
But yeah, I typically will do it, like, I've done like FSBOs and expireds most recently.
Like that.
Expires are good.
Yeah.
So using like cold data or minute dialers or anything, just
No, I mean, I don't know.
drop in the list, find us.
Yeah.
Where you get the numbers from?
Just like, I had, I forget what title company, had a program that I pulled a big list from, and they also had like a thing where you could sort and find, it was like people going through a divorce or life situation, so I had a list from them. And then I
Part
had
of that is RPR, isn't it?
RPR, everybody in here can use. If you have the MLS, you have RPR. RPR is a way you can dive in, and you can even search by equity in the home. Things like that allow you to kind of drill down to people that would be in a position of making a move. Now, pretty much everybody probably has equity, so it's not really as big of a deal as it was back in the day when we were trying to research all this. But RPR provides some public data, and sometimes it'll provide you numbers and contact info. I just, again, I haven't done any of the cold calling, so I haven't dived in much.
I
into
tried
that.
to use RPR like out of our MLS, like around the Bryan College Station area.
Yep.
And it won't give you that data. If you're not a member of that MLS,
Gotcha,
in
gotcha.
some, it kind of caps the amount of visibility you have.
Yep.
Well, there's Remind as well, I don't know if that was brought up. Go to
What is it?
Remind.
Remind.
just type in an address and it'll show you dots of all the homes next to it, and you click on it and it'll show you the same kind of thing. It'll show you the equity, it'll show you when it was last sold, it'll show you, you know, and I don't know kind of where they get their data from necessarily, but it'll kind of give you an idea of, you know, what's the potential of them selling. Are they coming to that, you know, is the chance of them selling low, that type of thing. And then there's contacts. You can either reach out to them via email or by phone.
So that information is in there, their
It's all of it,
contact
yep.
information?
If they're on do not call, obviously it will list that, but yeah.
Well, aside from HomeBot, isn't there, like, what's the difference between HomeBot and Boomtown? Is
Boomtown's
Boomtown
CRM.
just a CMR?
CRM. I've never used Boomtown. I know people that do, and a lot of them do like it. I think it has the video sitting capability. Is that part of Boomtown? And they've connected that with KV Core. I just.
BombBomb.
Oh, I'm thinking BombBomb. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
BombBomb.
I've never used that one.
Yeah.
I've never
KV
used
Core has some
Boomtown.
video sitting capability too, so.
What's that?
KV Core has that same capability.
Oh, like video recording and sitting?
Yes.
Yeah, BombBomb has other abilities I think they built into KV Core on top of what's already provided. I think there's additional upgrade benefits. I've never explored any of them. Yeah, this for you guys to check out.
Are you paying for your HomeBot? Because you only get like
Yep.
25.
Sure, you have to have a
Right.
lender partner in order to get a
Okay.
more robust, full options available by having a lender partner.
Uh-huh.
So signing up is only like $20 a month, it's not expensive.
Okay.
But you have a limitation on how many,
Mhm.
and then you have a limitation on some of the features and things that it does share. If you get a lender partner, it opens up everything, and it's like $200 a month for the lender. You know, but it's a cool thing is that they get full benefit of it. They don't have to split 50-50 with you. They can cover that cost because it's a perk and benefit to them.
They can use it with as many filters as they want, right?
Yeah, and that's the other cool thing. If you're short on lender partners, they have tons of lenders on there that will partner with you. If you just need someone, they offer them on there because they want to partner with realtors. That's why they're on the program.
So I have a lender partner, so I can do more than 25?
Yes, I don't have a limit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm putting everybody in there that, even people that I may not have sold directly to, but I have a relationship with them, and I have a reason I would know their house or something. There's just different reasons.
Okay.
But I would roll everybody.
I'm a recipient of HomeBot just because I'm a realtor, a friend was a realtor from another firm. He's posted on social media like, hey, you would like this. I said, oh, that sounds pretty cool, I'll sign up.
Yeah, it's
a good
it's a cool,
service.
yeah, it's a cool side thing you can put together. It's not expensive. So, and one of the things I always try to focus on is things that cost little to no money, you know, because we're dealing with a lot of newer agents and people that don't have the capital and the ability to do that. So I train and coach lots of people that are new. HomeBot's a good option if you have some people to put in. You know, you got to start with some type of minor database, at least something. Workplace referrals. Anybody ever gotten a referral in workplace?
Got referrals from other EXP agents,
Yeah,
but more through relationships.
given referrals through workplace.
You've done that. I've had a couple of my agents get logged in. So I have a team. If any of you are team leads, watch them and then assign them out. You know, give your team opportunities. You know, and I've done that with one. I had one in Denton. Shane Nickbay is one of my agents. I gave him one. He closed one in Denton on a referral. You know, so you can also think of others that are in your group that you can assign referrals out to. We do have a massive referral exchange. You know, you got to think, right? So I don't need to be picking on other brokerages, but a lot of them are franchised. There's not any incentive. Once you leave that franchise, you're starting over with somebody else, right? That's the challenge that the franchise model offers. Plus, you only have one cap, or you have cap in every single franchise you're in. You know, EXP, there's one cap. There's no franchise. So you can refer anywhere in the U.S. It encourages collaboration. And because we have stock driven, it also encourages the ability for all of us to be in the team together. You know, like almost none of us are immediately connected, but we all work at EXP. It's the only real connection. I mean, that's what a lot of the group is. So the ability to be able to refer and we all work together. So I've had some success there. I'm just giving you some other things to be thinking about during the slow time. Building your referral options. You guys do open houses? Y'all do your own? Do you do other agents?
Both do not own.
Both? Oh, he's got it up. So that's my page on KV Core. KV Core Workplace, sorry. True West Realty Group, that's my group. And I've got my slide in there, I'll pull up in just a second. but I post all my open houses in here. If you're looking for open houses, I generally get 1 to 2 listings every week that I have coming through. So if you're looking for opportunities in open houses, and you can jump in, I have a system of how people can enroll and sign up for them. I'm a big fan of open houses. Honestly, I didn't do a lot of them in the time that I actually was doing a lot more of the retail stuff directly. But man, I do them. I'd get tons of referrals on it. I mean, if you learn how to talk with people and how to pull out the right information, really focus on motivation, then you can make that connection. Because I think every person that walks in the door is looking to solve a problem. That's the way I kind of think about things.
Good thing right now too is that your buyers come in and are typically gonna be a lot more serious than they were during the crazy period.
Yeah, as long as we educate them. I think a lot of them have poor education. And that's really what I want to talk about on the media, what's being advertised about the market versus what's actually happening. So I want to talk a little bit about that because I think a lot of them are uneducated. You know?
Let me add something too. For your open houses, Elle Daniels is our marketing rep. She loves helping you guys with open houses. So she'll bring some kind of goodies, some wine, some waters, a little gift basket for food and stuff like that. So if you guys have an open house and need some help from Elle, make sure you reach out to her and say, hey, I've got an open house. Would you like to help? She's got a back room in our other office at Kimball that she just puts together these little packages for open houses. So utilize her, make her work for her commissions, and have her help you out there in the field. She's really good at that.
I've done a lot of training on open houses. I think having partners is a real big benefit, especially if there's no competing interest. You know, obviously the title company wants to support a transaction, and same with lenders. Have lenders there. You know, especially if you expect to be busy. I've probably got about 3 or 4 agents that have done them over the last few weeks in my team, and each one of them has had a successful opportunity. You know, either an active buyer ready to go, or even some have turned into transactions. So I know it's, when you've been doing it a long time, you don't want to go backwards. You think going backwards is doing open houses. But to me, it's like a live Zillow lead you're in front of.
I have several people I've met in open houses that are still clients and been repeat clients over and over again. I mean, that's just a great resource for business. And if you do it right, and, I'm sure we all are doing it right, but, do it professionally and what you're telling the neighbors is that you're the professional for them to hire to sell their house.
For sure, yeah. Knock on everybody. You live here, When you,
Invite them to come
why
over.
did you move here? I just have a conversation with people, and then if you know of people that would like to live in the neighborhood like you, this is the opportunity for you to come check out the house.
I've
you
had
know.
some really good luck. I've been doing an open house here in Southwick, and I've gotten a lot of nosy neighbors. So then the second weekend I just went knocked on everybody's door, all these townhomes, and I just asked them I know that you guys have family and friends that you want to live close to you. Who should I be calling to have them come to this open house this weekend? And I've gotten more that. I don't know if it just lessens the defense, or they feel oh, you're not trying to target me for something, but using me as a resource. I've had more results that way.
Anytime you can take it off them as the end person, they'll create the opportunity if the opportunity is there.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have to ask them. I'll say, hey, do you know of anyone looking to buy or sell? And you know that they are. They'll reveal that to you. Let them do that because it creates an open conversation. All right. Another thing is free lead sources. Right? We don't all just have to sign Realtor.com and Zillow and pay tons of money. I've got a few lists. I know this is probably going to be the hottest thing you guys always look for. One company I use is Referral Exchange. Anybody ever heard of Referral Exchange? Okay, I've signed up. They set up a template. Every person they send you, they have you sign an agreement. 25, 30% referrals. But again, it's paid at closing and funding. You don't pay up front. That's a good tool. And so Referral Exchange is one. All of you probably in here know OpCity, right? It's kind of the dirty Realtor.com that you don't pay for, but they give you all the junk until you sell enough of them, and then you start getting better quality leads. OpCity, all of you should at least try to work through those beat down opportunities until you get to some decent deals. And I've got a number of my agents that have closed OpCity houses. So that's another one, you guys. To get in there, you have to go through the broker. Broker has to unlock that for you.
How do you spell it?
OP City. It's Realtor.com generated, and they just sell them off to this, and they get a referral on it. It's normally the leads nobody else wants to work. So you might get some land that's $30,000 that it costs you more to close the deal, but it knocks off one of your required transactions, right? So once you get through that, then you can start getting better quality. And if you have teams, you can get the better quality and sign out, right? That's how we think and become scalable. Home Partners of America. Any of you ever done anything with them or know how they work? They buy the house cash.
I know what it is, but I've not done it.
So you can be an HPA agent. Okay, if you want to learn the system, get registered, get the credit, all that kind of stuff. HPA, Home Partners of America, they pay cash for a house. Then they start giving you people that would qualify for the lease purchase program, and then you just find them homes. I've sold some of my own personal flips to HPA, and the only problem is you've got two buyers now. You've got the homeowner that wants to buy it, then HPA has to prove it. So that's the only challenge, but generally they don't deal with, I don't even think they do appraisals.
Is that the one that does, their lease purchase?
It's a lease purchase, yeah.
Yeah.
So HPA buys it.
Right.
And then they sell it back to them after, whenever they want to, but it's an escalating deal, right? So they're
Yeah,
gonna
we sold
capture
to
the
them.
appreciation. It's not a grand slam for the homeowner, but at least they can buy where they wanna buy, and then at a rate that they can afford, because they're paying rent for it. So it could be a win that way, short term, but generally, a lot of times they don't sell, and HPA will just sell it themselves. They don't have to sell it to that homeowner. If they don't, they can sell it themselves. So they don't have to move forward with the purchase. They're just committing to a long-term lease. Okay, so lease purchase is kind of the way they set that up. HomeLight. Anyone ever heard of HomeLight? So they are extremely agent-friendly. A lot of these companies, I'll say this kind of at a high level. EXP's number one competitor is not another franchise or another real estate company. Their number one competitor are anti-agent groups that are out to take your license or make you have no value. Zillow is probably one of our biggest competitors.
Sure.
Okay? Because their interest is to remove agency from the transaction. They believe that they don't need you any longer. So I look for agent-friendly type companies. HomeLight's extremely agent-friendly. They have the ability, they can pay cash for a house. They offer all kinds of things. They offer leads. They offer the ability to pay cash for a house, but they give us the ability to now, they own it, and now we get to sell it, okay? I've used, that's Orchard, or it's another one like that pays cash. They just pay you on the front, and then they keep it, and they sell it themselves in-house. Again, that's competing with agency. HomeLight wants us to sell it. So, and they offer really high cash prices for homes. I deal in the investor world. Most of these companies are probably floating around 85 to 87% of ARV. HomeLight, man, they're as high as 92%. Which 92%, you think of a typical sale of a house at 100% is gonna spend 7% between commissions and cost to sell the title. They're darn close to that net number. So they're a real attractive option for cash options. They're just more work to set up. You gotta get the homeowner to agree to set up on a Zoom and take all the photos and so there's some work to do on the front end, but they offer real. So this is where it's important for you guys to know. Like when you have a conversation with a seller and they want to look at these options, say, if you're interested, I can look at a cash option that's going to be really attractive for
So
you.
it's better than the express offers?
I am an express agent as well.
Yeah.
And I joined probably too early because they were offering 70%, 65%, just ridiculous offers. I couldn't make any of them work. I'm sure they're different today. I have not gone through and done one in a long time. So, but I know at the point when I was looking at them, they were pretty low. And Express Offers is definitely pro agent. They want you to get the listing
Yeah.
after they buy the house. So they're definitely on your side too because they are our own company. I just haven't used it or done anything more with it since then.
And HomeLight's been good.
And by the way, they give you a URL. You can offer a cash offer on houses, and they give a nice landing page they create for you through Express Offers. And I don't even think you have to be certified to do it. There's the URL with your name, and you can send that out as a option for people to land on and say, hey, we can pay cash for your house. And it allows you to capture opportunities. Okay, I know I'm giving lots of information, but it allows you to capture opportunities that way. Any other lead generating opportunities that cost little to no money that you guys have seen, used, had success with? Those are some core ones. I have some other ones, but you have to have relationships and other things to get to them. These are the ones you can just sign up for.
I'm still a believer in the whole relationship thing, you know, the Brian Buffini calls, notes, and Popeyes, and all that kind of stuff.
Hey, one thing I was on a mastermind with Gene Frederick this morning. He was just like full of fire. I don't know if y'all know Gene. but
For sure.
He's like the good. But, you know, one thing he mentioned that next year NAR is predicting that I think 30 to 35% of agents are gonna be leaving the business. So just think about all the farming that agents are doing. People are gonna drop those farms. There's gonna be incredible opportunity to come in and take over for these farms for agents that are leaving. And also for the ones that are leaving too. If you know somebody that's leaving the business, let them know we now have a referral division. They can become a referral agent, don't have to join the realtor board, NAR and all that. And very low cost and capture referrals and have the ability to earn rev share if they want.
Do you need to have a license to do that? I'm trying
You
to.
have to have a license.
So it's kind of an inactive license role?
It's, you're active in the state, but you're not part of NAR and all the affiliates.
Okay, that's interesting. I
It's only
actually,
$50 a month.
it's incredibly fascinating. I'll tell you why. That's what I did when I first got my license. I joined an apartment locator. I had no interest in apartment locating. But they weren't a member of any association, and I wasn't gonna sell real estate at the time. I just wanted to get my license. So I parked it for 3 years at the time. And then I ended up, at the time, I could just go take my broker's test. There was none of this point stuff and all this stuff you gotta do now. So I got my broker license almost before I was even selling real estate. But that's how I set it up, and I didn't have to be a member of any association. It's ingenious for them to set that up, because you can actually do full function real estate in that role, but you're not gonna get the MLS, you're not gonna be a member of any of the association, you're not actually a realtor, but you are a licensed salesperson. You're still a licensed salesperson. It's kind of an interesting kind of place to be, which means that you're eligible for referral percentages.
Yes.
I love that. That's-
Do we know what the name of that program is?
It's, EXP referral division.
Okay.
So it's actually
It's
under.
not, it's different from revenue.
It's actually a
right?
division under EXP commercial.
Okay.
And the reason why is because EXP commercial is also not a realtor, not affiliated with NAR.
So if an agent wants to drop their license to that, how would they go about, just something they need a broker for, or?
Yeah, they can go into broker run or onboarding and, you know, you can convert over. One difference is that if you're at the EXP now, you'll keep your stock and all your awards. You know, you're not eligible to earn stock in the EXP, referral.
Gotcha.
But you save up a lot on all the fees.
Gotcha. Good to know.
So they treat you as an inactive agent that's parked their license. Not inactive, but they treat you as like a
You're-
non-active real estate person. I don't know.
Well, you're not, you're a referring agent.
So even on the referral, you don't actually, you're not building stock or any other perks or benefits that way.
You can still attract agents.
Still,
and
yeah,
build
for sure.
revenue share, yeah, but you don't get the equity for that.
I have so many people above me that, what's our time limit? I don't even know what I'm doing.
We usually have lunch between 11:45 and 12:15.
Okay, they don't look like they're hungry yet, so we gotta.
Not fast, I'm just kidding.
That EXP referral is fascinating. I know plenty of people that only do attraction.
Yeah.
That's exactly where
And
they
that's what they
would be.
Yeah,
do,
perfect.
because that's what, Rob Flick said, he's inactive. That's
Well,
So
what
the
he
question
does
is,
then.
can
So
they
he can
join
still-
that way? Or do
Yes, they can.
So they can join just as a referral, like if they, because
Correct.
EXP doesn't technically want people to just come in and track, I mean, which makes sense, right? But them coming in to do that, they can start off that way, they don't even.
I don't think EXP really cares one way or another.
Yeah, well, that was the
They
whole
want- they
point
want to sell
of why they did the
real
whole
estate.
FLQA thing, that was their whole
It
hype.
was about real estate, but,
Yeah,
you know, that's what you wanna do, and that's what
yeah,
gives you energy.
gotcha, that's cool.
All right, I'll just share a couple other things. Anybody use Linktree
Yes.
for their connections? I created this on Canva. I was gonna try to do Linktree, but I ended up going to Canva and, I went to Etsy and I got a template. And I took the template, and of course they used it Canva to do the template. So I went to Canva and then I created it, and then I realized, well, I don't need Linktree anymore because I created all my own links and stuff. Anyway, so that's mine. I think all of you should have some type of easy link system to be able to send out to people.
I
Do you
use
send
it
this through, you send it through text,
It's just
email?
it's a Bitly URL that I can do whatever I want with it. I can send it, I can text it, I can email it.
So they click a URL and then they can click on
That's right.
all these options.
Yep, they're all live, yeah.
And it's Linktree.
Linktree is the company I got the idea from, so that's a good place to start. Linktree does it. Okay, you can build your links and everything. They just don't let you do much customization in it.
What is this called?
I took a template from Etsy, which is just kind of it's like a
Marketplace.
it's a store you go to, and they have a bunch of little vendors on there that make crafts and stuff like that, or they'll do some of this kind of stuff, and they created a real estate one for
Kind of more
agents.
homey version of eBay.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So anyway, so I bought the product from them, and then they used Canva, which is a free online, where you can manipulate everything, and I used that to do it. Because man, I gotta find a way to start getting my podcast out. I haven't really promoted it yet. All right. So we got media versus reality. This is something we were talking about before. So we have people that show up to our open houses, and they may create opportunities for us to have that conversation. The problem is a lot of them have this perception that this is a terrible time to buy, right? And I'm just giving that as a specific example. I'm going to cover a couple of the examples. So this right here, the one I'm going to start with is a media post. Homeowners have lost $1.5 trillion in equity since May. Okay, we've all been here. We know the prices have come down, but that's all that message is saying. That's a negative, right? But it gets clicks. It's exciting. Wow, look at that. It's a crazy article. Well, it creates that sensationalism, but let's look at it in real perspective, right? So amount of equity available for homeowners to access before hitting a maximum 80%, which is what we're looking for to determine equity. Combined loan to value in trillions still is 400 million above last year. So if we look at that blue bar, which is the quarter last recorded here, and the prior is about a 1.5 trillion deficit. But if you look at that blue bar and you go back, you'd have to go back pretty far, and you're already well above that, right? Because we exploded so much in growth. So the conversation is, no, we all have tons of equity. We had a market correction, right? And we're going to talk a little bit on signs of crash and things like that. There's still no signs of crash, none. But it sure is a lot of fun to say there might be. There's this bubble, and it creates sensationalism. So it's important for us, and I'll tell you, I want you to think about is like this is real good Facebook bait. I say bait in a nice way, where you can say, hey, just so you know, they're saying this. I wanted to kind of put that in perspective. This is really what's happening. And then you can do a video and kind of talk people through it. It adds incredible credibility for you. So homeowners have very high levels of tappable home equity still today. And then one of the things they're talking about is the foreclosure tsunami. We're going to have this explosion because remember the government was helping everybody forbearance, push off their loans. No one had to make payments. And most of us know if we have a budget and we're paying X amount per month and we stop paying it, we just don't think we have to pay it ever again. And then when you have to start paying it again, everyone's going to lose their house. That was kind of this perception. But because the equity is so incredibly high, you're talking about like people that even if they didn't make payments for 2 years, they still got $100,000 in there, right? So they have so much equity to work with, and most people aren't going to walk away from that. So we're going to still have foreclosure like we always do, but it's going to be a trickle effect, not a tsunami. And I've got some good kind of things to show that. Let me skip the credit card. No, the credit card thing was also another hot topic. So for the second quarter in a row, the mortgage delinquency rate fell to its lowest level since MBA's survey began in 1979, declining to 3.45%. 3.45% foreclosure rate is fair. It's good. It's not high. It's actually pretty low, as a matter of fact. I think we normally float around 7, 8%. We're sitting at 3 still, okay? And then this is really kind of what it looks like. You guys all know the red. That's the crisis in 08, 09. 2 million consumers were in foreclosure at that height in 2009. Incredible. So what they're referring to is we had this jump. Look at this. From here to 88,000 in the first 3 quarters of 2022. So it looks like we have this jump. And so the article would say, wow, inflation or foreclosures have tripled in the last year. So it makes it look like it's really scary. And the reality is we are still very low. Okay, it's very manageable, and there's not any reason, because there's so much equity out there in all these homes, probably not gonna be any type of crisis. It's funny, I don't know if you guys have gotten some of that, you know, get your foreclosure certification now, get ready for it, get your short sale, you know, certification.
You know, I was just thinking about, if somebody wants to do video, it might be a fun way to illustrate it, would be to go to the courthouse steps on the first Tuesday of the month.
Oh, see what
Go-
the actual
go film
inventory
it, Go
is.
film it, like, hey, I'm here for the foreclosure auction, where is everybody?
Go
Where's all the
film it.
inventory?
Yeah.
Because it just dried up. You know, maybe trickling back a little bit, but it's not near what it used to be.
No.
If everybody's got equity in their house, you gotta be crazy to let your house go.
Well, they have options, right? I mean, we have HELOC if you have too much credit card debt. You've got cash out refis. You can certainly sell. You can cash sell. I mean, there's lots and lots of options. There's very little reason to be, you know, getting into foreclosure. Another thing that, oh, this is another good one. House price growth has substantially decelerated. That means is we're accelerating where we're going up in price. Now we're seeing price of homes starting to come down. And it really focuses on metropolitan areas. So this is really kind of an important distinction too. So the major metropolitan areas, a lot of them hit explosive growths, right? We know we did here. And I'll show you in a minute, I think we were hitting like 50% plus in growth, which is incredible. And it's so intense. But that also means that we're also gonna have a sharper decline because we exploded so much in growth that we had this stunt. I kind of think about, you know, when all this happened a few months back, when all of it just kind of crashed around here and stopped, I always think it's like the shell shock, right? Where you're paying 3%, now you're paying 7.5%. There's that big shell shock, which was too much in a short amount of time. And then you just have, you know, I don't even think the election, a lot of that had as much to do with it. I think just that immediate shell shock was such and 7% is not even the worst thing. I mean, it's not that bad historically, you know? But anyway, I think that just kind of created that. So house appreciation, even house appreciation year over year in September of 2022 compared to September of 2021, it's 11%. That's a lot of appreciation during the same period of time that they're saying that home prices are dropping. We still have massive appreciation still available in there. You know, I think it just makes a difference when you really kind of back up and start looking at it over time. We do have drops in percentage of change of home sales over time. That's what we're looking at here. There is a drop in the percentage of home sales. Okay? But a drop in home sales doesn't mean that we have any particular crisis. It's just comparing to that extreme market we had a year prior. And I like this, the median home values. So that's another thing they're trying to use as an indicator. We had that. So the cool thing here is I like looking at this. This didn't hit us in July. No, I don't know about you guys. It was sometime around September or so when we really felt the pain. I think the summer was slowing up towards the end, but the pain really, just from my observation, maybe as early as August. So I think we lag 1 to 2 months behind the US in that because we're well insulated here. We have a really good place to live. Our cost of living is low. We have good schools. Public schools generally are really good compared to a lot of metropolitan areas. So we have a lot of good reasons to think that people don't respond as fast here because we have a good place. But they're looking at July as where they started feeling the red. You know, June it hit, July, and now it's starting to, that median value versus the prior year is starting to come back in the right direction. So it's actually going in the right direction. We're not continuing to suck it up. And then this is what I was talking about, the pre and post pandemic. We're talking about the period of time before the pandemic, and you can see Dallas is right here, right? 17, we were sitting at about a 9% appreciation rate. Then we jumped, and during that period of time, it's a 3-year period of time. You guys have all heard housing is typically about 3.5%. It's pretty typical. You know, when I always, and I've mentioned this before, I always talk about exit strategy. I talk about, you know, you need to be in this for 3 years in order to exit. This is before pandemic stuff, right? Because you have to have enough equity in the home to be able to have an exit. And if you're selling too soon, you may be upside down. You know, but we need to stay in there for about 3 years, and you're generally pretty safe. So that number is typically about 3%. Over 3 years, it shows 9% for Dallas. In the pandemic time, we shot up 51% during that period of time. That's massive, right? Which means that we have a higher exposure rate for drops. I'm going to show you the home price movement has dropped in some of these markets here, those metro markets. Give me a second. I was gonna show Dallas, basically. The percent change that we have month over month is 2.1%, which is higher than a lot of the other parts of the country because we had so much growth during that period of time. All right, last slide I'm gonna show, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. If price dropped by X percent, we're back to, right? So how far back if we drop 5% of our value of our home? We're back to the same year. We're still in February, okay? We drop 5%, we're in February 2022. If we drop 10%, we're in October of 2021. That's a year ago. And you can kind of see, even going all the way back, dropping 25%, you're still at the end of that first year of the pandemic. So that's and that's not gonna happen, but it's just to kind of put things in perspective. You know, we'd have to have really significant price drops even to get back, 1 or 2 years. So any thoughts or questions on, and do y'all understand this? Do y'all see what, like, the message is getting put out there? Your friends, I heard this, I heard interest rates are so high, it's terrible to buy. I made this comment, I think last time, it's better to pay $20,000 below list price today at 7% than it is paying $50,000 over back in spring at 3%. Because you're never gonna get that $50,000 back.
You can get a better rate.
Yeah, and you have the opportunity, so that $50,000 is gone, you can't refinance that out. It's already gone. But at least now you have the option to refi that at a better rate later. And you have more control. I mean, it sure is a lot easier to have some control. Before, and I'll tell you another fun thing, I'm finding a lot of the agents making offers on my listings, they don't know how a real market works. And what I mean is, like, you just went through 3 years of, they're told what to write, how to win, and it has nothing to do with inspections or, even appraisals. Like the normal process that we go through. Most of you have been around long enough to know that we normally have problems with appraisals we have to negotiate or inspections. But, we were doing no inspection contracts and appraisal waivers and $50,000 over cash. So even if the appraisal's short, we covered it anyway. Now we actually have to work when we get it under contract because I got buyers that are real critical. They want everything right, a lot of them are still so hesitant, they want a perfect deal. I'm still dealing with a lot of that too right now. I don't know if you guys are experiencing that. That's something that I'm having. Any questions or feedback, media versus reality?
Well, the media is always going to
Sensationalization.
take the crisis outlook.
Yeah, positivity doesn't sell, the negativity does.
Sells more pharmaceuticals. Going through this, but I refinanced my personal home a year ago, February, and I'm not even sure, I think it was 3.15%. And that lender is emailing me, mailing me, calling me daily, saying, hey, you can pay off all your debt.
Yeah.
You got
Debt consolidation lender or something.
Yeah, 200,000 in.
Through your equity, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going, wow, they're getting desperate for loans, that's for sure.
Sure.
This is really good. How do we get this stuff so we can show people this?
The biggest takeaway is this is what people are told, and it's a gap, right? The gap is where we create value,
Right.
as agents. I have it in the workplace. I can give it to Gina. Give it from Gina. How about that? You guys all have Gina's information? So I'll just give it to her, and then you guys can, yeah. So that'd be the easiest way.
And you made this?
No, I stole this from Jeff Morrell. I don't know if any of y'all know him. Jeff Morrell is in my group, the Freedom Team. It's a bigger group that I'm with at EXP. We're under Gene Frederick, and then it goes Sean Sturrock's, basically Sean Sturrock's group. He's got a few thousand agents in there. So it's Sean, and then Eric Golden introduced from Sean, and then I got to know EXP through Eric Golden. So that's how I got the EXP, not that it matters, but anyway, Jeff posted this, and he does a lot of stuff with the Freedom Team. So he threw some slides together, because he's like, it just creates opportunities for us to have intelligent conversations with people, so they really know what they're thinking and seeing is sensationalism. I'm telling you, this is a way better time to buy, way better than even in the spring. Way better. It's not even close. And I think that they just don't understand that. So, yeah, get with Gina, and she can get it from her. Any other questions or anything?
Very good, thank you. Sean.
Great.
Thanks,
Sean. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Sean, I have a question. I came into real estate in 2020.
Great time.
Yay me, yeah. And so I'm finding, like you said, it was easy to sell, you know, to list a house because you were gonna get over lists. And now, how much, like, I had a trouble this last, I closed on December 30th, but I felt like I had to give away the kitchen, the sink, the pool.
Are you
like,
asking
I
how to
gave-
price a house or how to sell a house?
No, not how to price it, but how much, I guess what I don't understand is how much now should we give in to the buyer, just until you come to a deal?
Everything's about motivation. I keep things simple. If the seller's motivated enough, we do whatever we gotta do.
Right,
If the buyer's motivated enough, then whatever we gotta do to make that happen. I mean, that's what everything's about. You know their situation. So what I do is I'll break it down in opportunity costs. Like I'll say, okay, you wanna make $500,000 on this house. I do too. But the reality is we're not. So we're probably gonna be around X number. In order to do that and get that done in the next 30 to 40 days, we probably need to be at this number, right? If you don't, then we're gonna be sitting here showing this house for the next 90, 120 days. And then people are gonna they're gonna come down at that price anyway. I would, if I was a buyer. I mean, I negotiate. You know, that's a fair, so that's opportunity cost we wanna have with it. You know, and I don't know, the motivation really is what the driver is, right?
yeah.
You know? Any other thoughts or questions?
I think going,
Go ahead. Real quick.
one thing that I heard that was interesting was when it came to pricing, was a lot of these sellers, you know, again, they're still in the mindset of where we were in the old market. So it's really tough to get them to go, hey, listen, like, we don't wanna chase the market. They don't really understand what that means. So, was somebody shared with me kind of what they tell their sellers, and it was basically saying that, you know, it was kind of interesting, but it was, you know, if the house is covered in oil, okay, or gasoline, whatever, and somebody's coming with a match, and he's getting closer, and you look at him, you're like, he's not gonna light this house on fire, and he gets closer, and you're like, he's not gonna light this house on fire, and he keeps getting closer, and you're like, he's absolutely not gonna light this house on fire, and then he goes and he lights it. You should have shot him a long time ago. That's exactly what he's talking about with the market, is it gets to the point where you're like, no, this is gonna sell, it's gonna be fine. No, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine.
It gets worse.
And by the time you decide to, okay, fine, it's time to bring it down, everyone else has brought theirs down, you're chasing the market.
And
you know,
then
by the
everybody
time-
wonders what's wrong with the house.
Exactly,
Right,
and then by
yeah,
the time you
that's
sell it, you lost a lot more money than you could have, you would have
Right.
just, you know, lowered it sooner. So, it was an interesting, anyway, I don't know
Yeah,
if that
I had
helped
that.
any, but
Yeah, I
that was
had
really
that.
interesting.
Price below the
Conversation
pending,
for
that's what we
70
talked about
days.
last week.
That's exactly what we're.
Price your house below the pending. That's just a starting point. That's a good conversation point, right? Because you know they're pending, they're under market, under for sale. If they have high DOM, they probably took a higher discount.
And
If they have a
you know-
lower DOM, they'd be less.
Can y'all ever share like trends in the MLS with your clients? That's a great thing to do, it's very visual.
Oh, to watch the percentage of market, how it's dropping or
Yeah, you
rising.
can watch, you know, the average price per square foot, and the average list price, and it's sliced down by zip code, by city, county, whatever.
And you used to be able to
Tons of
see
different
how many
metrics.
people were viewed houses in each.
I think there's even a
And I
now,
can't
like,
find them
number of
anymore.
showings before a sale.
Yeah.
I think that's in there now.
I lost,
So-
I can't find it anymore. You used to,
I wish I had my computer to show you, but, it's a great thing to show
Probably
people,
not
just so they
showing
can really
time.
visualize how the market's changed.
Showing time is big enough to where you can, because they've got a lot of reports in there.
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
How many views,
Yeah.
by price.
Very good.
That's all I got. We doing lunch? What's the next step, Gina?
Man, if it's not lunch, I'm out of here.
No, I think, let's see, how many?
I said 2, 4, 6.